The core concept of an offer is finding a demographic of clientele that has a very unique problem, finding a solution to solve that problem, and then turning it into an offer and then bringing that offer to that clientele and actually having them refine it. Welcome to the Listing Blueprint Podcast, the show for real estate agents who want to become top-tier listing agents and build a business driven by systems and not stress. I'm your host, Reid, managing broker, 16-year realtor, and creator of the Listing Blueprint Fastest Path to Sold. Every episode, I break down one practical strategy or framework you can use to win more listing appointments, price with confidence, market with intention, and sell homes faster in any market. If you're ready to elevate your listing game and run your business like a pro, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Listing Blueprint. And I've got a unique one today. I want to talk about offers. Now, I've been a big proponent of offers for a long time. And the core concept of an offer is finding a demographic of clientele, whether that's a buyer or seller, that has a very unique problem. And sometimes the more niche, the better. Finding a solution to solve that problem and then turning it into an offer and then bringing that offer to that clientele and actually having them refine it. And it's really simple when you think about it. I'm surprised it's not taught more in our industry. But one of my best offers I ever had was my contractor enhancement program. And the reason is that it was hard to create and it provided real value. The contractor enhancement program was a partnership I had with a general contractor in Kamloops, and I created the same alliances with different trades, electricians, plumbers, everything. And the agreement was this. My guys would come in, and if you had a home that had equity in it, but you didn't have the cash on hand to do the work, then my guys would come in, they would do the work, they would add a 10% surcharge onto that work. Part of the agreement was you had to be flexible around their schedule so that they could fit it in between jobs. And in exchange for that, they would do everything. You got to list the home, market it with the renovations done. You got the upside of it, and you only had to pay when the deal completed. For my contractors, it was a good way for them to fill in the work, and they get a 10% increase on their overall profit. So it worked really, really well. But when it comes to offers, you understand that the more powerful the solution, the more powerful the offer, the more it's going to pull for you. So a great example of where this contractor enhancement really stuck out was I met a lady. She was looking to sell her mobile home. She contacted me off of one of my ads. And the reason she hadn't sold is that exact scenario. But in BC, you have to get a BC electrical certification on a mobile before you can sell. So she'd been wanting to sell for almost 7 years, did not have the finances to do it, felt stuck, heard my ad, contacted me. I had Earl, my electrician. He was game, went in, did the work. We listed it, sold in 3 days. And that came from a really good offer. So I'm a huge fan of it. You've seen it a bunch. But one of the things that I want to point out to you, if you're a realtor or if you're a client looking to take one of these offers, is that its core basis, it should be something that makes a lot of sense. But also, you have to understand that most of this is designed in a way that gives us the ability to say what we really feel about how to go about marketing the home. Now, what I said there was really confusing. So let me clarify it a little bit better. So let's say, for instance, my flagship offer, successfully sell your home in 6 weeks or less. Now, a lot of people hear that and they're like, okay, what makes this guy so confident that he can sell my home in 6 weeks? But that exact question is the door that needs to be open for me to explain to you how you could sell your home in 6 weeks or less. And if you're a real estate agent or a seller in here, if I told you the goal is you need to sell this home for as much as you possibly can, but you cannot let it go over 6 weeks, I bet any of us could come up with a strategy for that. The problem is, and we deal with this on a daily basis, is that not everybody's as cold and calculated as that. Buying and selling a home is very emotional. Everybody's emotionally charged to their house. Everybody thinks their house is worth more. And everybody is afraid of what could happen if I get too aggressive. And the truth is, the risk is a little real. I mean, we talk about pricing as a big dictator of sale price. But what happens if you price too low? And really think about this. What happens if you price too low? We all want to say, well, the market will bring it up. It will if you do it right. But what happens if you list too low and the first day someone comes in and gives you a full asking price offer? Are you going to be able to negotiate above your asking price? No, you're not. So you need a strategy. Now, what happens if you don't get a multiple offer? Well, if you've had enough buyers that came through and you handle it right, then maybe you can concede that that's market value. But nobody wants to list their home for 100,000 less than it's worth, worried about whether they're going to actually get that multiple offer up or not, because no one wants to take that much less for their home. And there are variables. Like I've had homes that I was sure would go to multiple offers that didn't. So not every strategy works 100% of the time, but every strategy could work a lot better if we removed emotion out of it and just looked at the logical side of what we're trying to do. And so when you make an offer to someone like that, or there's a few that I like that just put you in the hot seat as the real estate agent. In my case, if I don't sell your home in 6 weeks, I'm out a job. Unless you decide to continue on with me, that's it. 6 weeks and I'm gone. But here's the thing. What it does is it focuses me to have the conversation with you of what would need to happen for the home to sell within 6 weeks. Now, sometimes I talk to clients and they don't want to do the 6-week sales, but they still want me to list the home. But the problem is, and I agree with them sometimes, not every home should be sold within 6 weeks. If it's a high-priced home that's unique, that we're going to need a bit of time to find the buyer, then you probably shouldn't slam it shut in 6 weeks unless you need to. The other thing is when I'm talking to clients that are wanting to do the 6-week sold program, I will tell them, okay, let's just pretend. Rather than me telling you what your house is worth or not, because I want you to make a decision, let's just pretend that you were coming to me and saying, Jeremy, I want you to get the most amount of money for this property, but I want you to sell it in 6 weeks. Now, if that was the goal, if that's what you said to me, this is exactly how I would do it. I would find out where the market was at that given time, and I would price 2% under that. And I would wait for 7 to 10 days or 8 to 12 showings, whichever one came first. Now, after those 8 to 12 showings, if we weren't able to generate a multiple offer, or if 10 days went by and we weren't able to generate a multiple offer, I would reduce the price by at least 5% to get down to another price bracket. I would then again wait 8 to 10 days or 8 to 12 showings. And if again we didn't hit, I would drop it again. This would be my real strategy. And I would talk through the risks that go along with that and the rewards that go along with that. And I can tell you from 17 years of experience, that strategy will net you more 95% of the time. Most of the time in any given market, that exact strategy is going to net you the most. And the concern is, well, if people see us dropping our price that fast, doesn't it say that we're motivated? Yes, it does say that you're motivated, but I would rather have someone come to us and think these guys are trying to fire sale this place. I'm going to hit them with a low offer because we might A, negotiate that offer to something we want, or B, use that to evoke another multiple offer. It doesn't matter what they think. The reality is they're going to find out where we stand when they come at us with the offer, but we want to see the offer. A lot of times when someone calls me and says, why are you guys dropping the price so fast? I can say, I've got a very educated seller that is adapting to the market as they see fit. And we just didn't get the action we wanted at the first pricing strategy, so we made a quick adjustment. That's it. There's no fire sale. There's no motivation. We're looking at offers within a reasonable range, and that's it. So that shuts down the whole motivation conversation, but at least I had a chance to have that talk. It's the same with my price guarantee. I'll do a price guarantee on some of these properties where I'll say, if you follow my guidance on the pricing and the adjustments and we run the strategy, and we don't get an offer higher than the price guarantee, then I'll cover the difference out of my commission if we have to dip under. Now, why do I give that price guarantee? Well, I want that type of responsibility put on my shoulders because the only way that that price guarantee works is if they trust me, they trust my pricing strategy, and they're going to follow the steps. But the thing is, with the 6 weeks sold and with the price discovery or the price guarantee, both of those only work if we get agreements on what the strategy is and we follow the strategy step by step by step. And to this day, 90% of the time, when people follow my strategy on the 6 weeks sold, they sell within less than 6 weeks. And they're almost always happy with the price. The ones that don't, that want to hold out longer, that don't want to listen to the market, that say, you know what, we're not quite ready to drop, that's fine. That's your house. And by the way, I don't think we as realtors should ever be telling our clients what they should or shouldn't price their home at. We just inform. If you want to start $50,000 high, the problem is, and this is a real conversation I'll have, if I don't believe in your price, I can't take the listing. Because if my job is to defend our pricing strategy. Now, if I even have a hint that there's a 5% chance, there's a buyer avatar out there that could pay that premium for that price, then I can defend it. So that when I get a call from a realtor and say, hey, why are you priced $50,000 high? Boom, I've got the answer for them. But if we're just going 50,000 because we're fishing, I'm just not the best representation. And you should go with someone that does believe in that price, because then all I have is, it's just what my seller wants. It's all they're willing to ask for. And that's weak. That's not going to get you the price. No one wants to just overpay for no reason. So there has to be a story behind why we're listing for what we're listing. But nonetheless, what I'm getting at is, if they're going to trust me in my pricing strategy, if they're going to trust me in my process, my sales process, and they're going to follow exactly what I think we need to do to get a house sold in 6 weeks and to get a house sold for more price, then I'm fine to put it on the table and say, yeah, if I'm wrong, I'll eat it, because I want to treat this money like it is my money. I want skin in the game too. You know, I don't want you locked in for 6 months with me if I'm not performing. Like, let's give it 6 weeks and really give it the strategy. And you'll notice that some of my listings do sell really quick. And if you were to look behind that, you'll notice those are the people that followed the 6-week strategy. And the ones that take a little bit longer, there is a reason we didn't sell in 6 weeks. And it has to either do with absorption, the market, or the goals of the seller and what we're trying to achieve. But believe every single listing that we put on the market has some kind of strategy behind it. And to wrap a bow in this whole thing, the offers kind of become your key to differentiating. And you can have a million offers. You don't need one core offer. You know, I've got my successfully sell your home in 6 weeks or less. 6-week listing contracts, you can cancel anytime after 6 weeks. You don't have to continue on. My price guarantee. Well, you hit my price, or I'll hit your price, or I'll cover it out of the commission. I've got my contractor enhancement program that I'm building again that I want to put out because I think it's an excellent program. Private stock. Private stock's a great one, by the way, if you're a realtor. Don't rely just on the MLS. Private stock is anybody that would sell. So anybody that owns a house that says, I would sell if I got X price, put that into a binder, like old school binder if you want. I mean, new school might be a bit better now, but I remember at one point I had 35 in a binder, and I would pull that out every time I had a buyer, and I would say, this is a book of 35 extra listings of people that I know would sell if they got the right price. And you know what? The other thing you'll be surprised is some people are pretty reasonable on their price. They just don't want to list it. A lot of people want to sell their home. They just don't want to go through the process of getting a realtor through and listing it and getting on the MLS. But if you can remember Sheila and Dawn, and even maybe get a few photos of their listing, and remember that Dawn said, I am thinking about retiring. If someone rolled up and gave me $925 for my place, I'd move tomorrow. Then Dawn and Sheila need to go in your book or into your program, and they need to be referenced regularly, and and that's a service, by the way. You know, you don't have to list with me for me to start showing my buyers your property. So build that list up. Do it in collaboration with other realtors in the office. That works great too. I did that for a while. There was 3 of us, and we were all just sharing these inside pocket listings that we could bring our buyers to. Anyway, that's pretty much everything I wanted to touch on. I'd like to see more realtors doing more offers, and I'd like to see more clients asking me about my offers. Because when you ask me about the offers, then I'm able to explain why they're there, and it really cuts to the chase of what needs to happen to get the deal done. And what I love is it stops having to tiptoe around things, because, this business is an emotional business. We deal on emotion, and sometimes it's really hard when you feel like your home is $50,000 more than what the realtor thinks, and you're having that tension back and forth, and you don't want to hurt someone's feelings. The nice thing is when we take that aside and look at it like, what's our goal? If our goal is to sell in 6 weeks, this is what we need to look at. These are the comparables we need to consider. This is the time frame. This is what the strategy needs to look at. If we're going to go with the price that you're looking at, here's what the truth of the matter is. 90% of the market is going to say that we're overpriced. We have to be okay with that because we're only looking for that 10% that is going to think we're in the value range. We need a good story. We need to make sure the home is prepared properly, and that might take an extra 3 or 4 weeks. But if our absolute goal is to get the highest price, then we got to take the steps and move in that direction, and it might not be a 6-week plan. And sometimes we go in the direction of the seller, and sometimes the 6-week plan wins because they understand, okay, that's the path I want to go more than I want to be stuck on my number. So hopefully that helps. And as always, if you guys could like and share and bring more people to the podcast. If you find value of this, just tell someone you know about the podcast. If they're a realtor thinking about getting into real estate, anything, I just want it to grow. And the more it grows, the more I'm excited to get on and do these episodes. So that's it for this week. We'll talk to you guys next week.